Hello, everyone. Long time no see. And when I say long time no see, I mean a couple weeks. It's been a couple weeks. Yeah. Excuse me. The good news is, honestly, I'll just cut straight to the chase. If you don't see me, it's because work got super busy. And when work gets super busy, it becomes extremely difficult to maintain a consistent posting schedule while dealing with my work responsibilities. Is it impossible? Definitely not impossible. And honestly, perhaps that's like my next mission is to overcome moments in the week or month or year when my work priorities or my work responsibilities become more overbearing. There are moments when I just get, you could say, overwhelmed with the amount of work that I have to complete, and things like posting routinely fall by the wayside. Not happy about it, it's just a thing that occurs. What I am very grateful about this time around is that last time I got super busy with work and my workload doubled, I went down a very terrible binge that lasted for essentially 2 months, maybe even 2 months and a half. And I'm still recovering or getting back to the level of aesthetic awesomeness that I had achieved earlier this year due to binging for 2 months straight. And, that sucks. That sucks to really just kill not only 2 months of your year, but also the amount of time that it takes to undo those 2 months of damage. Now, 2 months is better than 2 years, granted, but I don't know. I'm extremely aware of my timeline here, and I acknowledge that I am currently living in my peak years, my prime years, and I want to capitalize on that. There are already things that I could have done better in my life so far as my respective goals are concerned. Achieving a peak aesthetic physique, becoming great, excellent, elite at the things that I have designed to achieve at. None of that is really meant for my later years. In fact, I don't even spend much time imagining what my later years in life should look like. When I think about the things that I want to get done so far as my bucket list is concerned, all of that is in the timeline of, I don't know, I don't picture past 50. I don't. In fact, even going all the way up to 50, it makes me think like I should be wrapping up by then. I really should be. So far as telling the story that I want to tell. And that's really what it comes down to. I want to tell a story. I want to tell it in a cool way. And I want this physique to be a great representation of the avatar, the main character for this story. Every step that I get closer, all it does is affirm my intentions This is a character study. Something that I've always been interested in. My favorite films have been essentially character studies, or great ensemble pieces like Magnolia. That's a favorite movie of mine. Social Network, something of a character study. I remember the first time I wrote a manuscript called The Narcissist, which was a fictionalized story based on the lives of myself and 3 other friends of mine. And, it was 849 something pages. The cool thing about the experience in writing it is I arrived at the realization that I am just genuinely interested in the nuances of an individual, of a person. I've never really been that fascinated with group think, but I am extremely interested in the intimacy and the personal details of a singular person. And what I discovered upon writing that manuscript, The Narcissist, is I find it to be, I'm much more comfortable exploring my own inner workings as opposed to exploring someone else's. The experience of writing about myself and my 3 friends and really going deep into detail about all of our insecurities and our flaws and our drawbacks and shortcomings, the negative things that we don't really, as humans, try to bring into other people's awareness, the things that we hide in the shadows of our interactions with people and hope that no one else notices these aspects of ourselves. Those were the things that I was really keen on exploring because I felt that these things remained unexplored. So I wrote that book, that manuscript, and the amount of the amount of blowback that I received after posting it online. My friends were really upset with me. I had talked about things such as adultery, drug abuse, all kinds of things. And they were really upset as to how I portrayed them. Long story short, ever since then, I still have a very high interest in exploring these aspects of people, the entire scope of a person, the good and the bad, the things. I guess it's my opinion that you can't really understand a person fully unless you understand the negative aspects of them. You can't hide parts of a person and then expect to get the whole scope. But the entire experience is, I've walked away feeling like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that through that, I feel the most comfortable using me as the character study that I get to focus all of my passion and attention into. I am the person who has always been volunteering to be explored by me and to expose myself, my idiosyncrasies, my negative traits and habits, my drawbacks, my flaws, my insecurities. I'm comfortable sharing that with the world because I'm the writer. I'm the author. I'm the artist. And this is my art project. This is what I'm sharing with my audience. This person, this individual, this character study. And I want to be done by the time I'm 50. But in the meantime, leading up to that moment, what are we doing? What are we doing to tell this story, to tell this project, show this character study? In the ways that I've seen this done in the past, it's been done through literature in the form of books. I wrote a book, didn't get it published. I will write another book, and I will get that one published. I've watched movies where they do character studies. The Master is one that comes to mind with Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman. That was a character study. Really, I really enjoyed that film. There Will Be Blood is another character study. Paul Thomas Anderson directed both films. Movies, television shows. The one show that I've been watching recently, Dave, written and starring and directed, I believe produced by Dave Bird, otherwise known as Little Dicky. I would call that a character study. And every time I watch that show, which is why I enjoy watching it, I'm just reminded of the fact that he's doing exactly what I want to be doing, which is telling his story in the format of a fictional TV show. It's exactly what I want to do. His story is one of a Jewish rapper navigating success and fame and his own insecurities in real time. That's essentially what the show is. I don't know how else to, that pretty much sums it up. He's a Jewish comedic rapper, and he's constantly focused on how he is presenting himself to his fan base and the world outside of his fan base. He is a full-fledged person, and he wants his art to be the thing that speaks for him. And he wants to establish himself as a meaningful force in his own creative endeavors. And it's very important to him. He's very passionate about it. And that's his project. That's his story. What's interesting about Dave, the show, and the artist, is, Little Dicky was making music. I mean, the show is based off of his life, Jewish rapper, comedic. And, he made one album. Can't even remember the name of it. But he made that album, made a bunch of viral videos on YouTube, and then he started producing this TV show, Dave, on first FX, and I want to say it's on a streaming channel, perhaps Hulu. The reason why I believe it's on a streaming channel is because one of the last episodes I saw in season 3, there was nudity in it, and I know that FX isn't showing nudity, at least I don't think so. So anyway, ever since he had started making this TV show, and he's 3 seasons deep now, no more albums. No more music albums. Now his albums are coming out in the form, or his music is coming out in the form of his TV show, which is interesting, but I also kind of understand it because, he has so much more control and ability to truly represent himself through this medium of making a television show, as opposed to, he has some level of creativity. I don't know, I think he wins so far as, like, if you have the choice between making an album that expresses yourself or making a TV show that expresses yourself, go with the TV show. You just have so much more ability, especially if you have that level of creativity to do it and do it successfully. I get it. I totally get it. And, people like Dave Bird, life is long. He could finish that show and make another album, or he could be so satisfied with his ability to express himself through the one album that he's already made and through the however many seasons of Dave he actually ends up producing and starring in, that he's like, all right, I told my story, and now I don't feel the need to tell anymore. I'm good. I'm good. And that's truly what I want for myself, is to tell my story in its entirety and be satisfied. Just be satisfied. Right off into the sunset. I say all this to say, where are we now? Where are we now? Gotta make a movie. Gotta write a book. Gotta make a TV show. These are the things that I really, really want to make happen. Are they essential to my existence of life? Will I consider myself a failure if these things don't occur? I will consider myself a failure if I don't do everything within my power to make them occur. Yes, that would be a failure to me. And so, these things should occur. I also feel that, in the content that I have made, I did a couple of things. I have been recording conversations and moments like these on camera. This one conversation I filmed a couple weeks ago with my girlfriend. It was an hour and 50 minutes. We sat there on a couch talking about the status of our relationship and our future plans that we had for each other. It was very interesting. I'm still, even now, I'm still processing that conversation since it was very emotional. It was very heady. I set up 3 cameras for that conversation. One camera was on her, one camera was on me, and then we had a wide shot. I haven't finished editing it, but I've seen about 45 minutes of it already. And even that alone, watching it and being able to cut between the 3 shots and hearing the conversation, even with the limited resources that I had at my disposal, such as the 2 iPhones that I was using to film 2 of the shots, the cheap Sony ZV that I'm filming with this, with, the lack of a script. All of these things were elements to the thing that my girlfriend and I participated in. And even then, I still felt really happy. I felt that I was on the right path. Yeah, I know that there's better content to make. There's a better way of execution, upping the production value, getting better shots, angles, better lighting, better audio, all of that. But just a little bit that has been done. Getting those 3 angles and being able to cut between the 3 and listening to this organic conversation unfold in real time. Similar to some of my other favorite films, the Before Sunset trilogy. It was really nice and really satisfying to be able to sit there and see that and know that I am heading in the right direction. I asked myself, what more can I do right now in this current day and moment to better tell my story. The one thing I felt was I still feel a bit uncomfortable about the content of the conversation, and it goes back to the comment that I was making earlier about me really being the only person that I am comfortable doing this whole character study with. It's because, I don't know, perhaps writing the narcissist and experiencing the blowback that occurred in relation to my friends and how they felt about me telling their story in the way that it was told and highlighting their deficiencies, it really did leave me not wanting to experience that again. Granted, I do want to give a disclaimer that I checked in with all three of my friends before I even started writing the book, stating that, like, hey, I want to get into the nitty-gritty of our story. I want to tell the full scope of what's happening. And just to give you a little bit of background for those wondering, the story, the way that I was pitching it back when I was writing it and completing it, was what if the Beatles never made it? And you have these 4 talented individuals in a very small town in Liverpool. This is for the Beatles. 4 talented individuals living in Liverpool who just never made it out of that small town, yet they still had this abundance amount of talent that really should be on the world stage. That was a concept for the book. In our case, it was we were comedians, filmmakers, similar to well, the one show that I really like, I Think You Should Leave, Tim Robinson. But there's also Whitest Kids You Know, they're on YouTube. Derek Comedy, which was a sketch comedy group that Donald Glover, also known as Childish Gambino, was a part of before he got his big break as a writer on 30 Rock. But yeah, we were sketch comedy filmmaker, writer people. And we had local success when we were in high school. And as we, started finishing the year and getting ready to graduate, everyone was saying in our small town that we were going to be, famous and successful in film and make comedic movies and shit like that. I always saw that whole thing as like a stepping stone because I've always been more interested in just killing it. I don't really think you can kill it as a comedian. More like, I don't think I can kill it as a comedian. I think I have comedic chops, but I think that the best way to show my range is outside of comedy. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, that's what the book was about. The book was about the year after graduating high school and this level of quietness that occurred, waiting for something to happen, waiting for the next chapter to start that never did. So I wrote it from each perspective. I wrote it in chapters. Whenever it was my chapter, I felt the freest to paint myself in a negative light. My goal in writing it, and this was something I told myself constantly, was that I will only feel comfortable in writing this book if I can make my character look worse than the other 3. If in some way I finish this book and my character comes out looking better, then I will have failed in this project. Because one thing I always understood is like, it wouldn't be fair for me to be the author of this story and have my character coming out looking better in any way. So it was a personal vendetta or personal incentive that I had for myself, which was, make the character of Sean Fury. We don't have to make him dislikable or unlikable. We have to paint this person as just as flawed as everyone else that you're describing. And I believe I achieved that. I mean, I'm happy with the finished product. It remains unedited. That's a thing that, as I continue to gain fans, you're going to learn that editing is an issue for me. I've never really been a big editor, and I don't know when I will become one. I kind of like the concept of everything being a work in progress. I like to refer to The Narcissist as an unfinished masterpiece. There will be finished projects, things that are refined and finely tuned. There will be. The Narcissist isn't one of them. There's a book I have in mind, one or two books that I have in mind that I imagine being much more polished. But at the end of the day, The Narcissist started it all. It served as the first piece of the puzzle, first piece of the project, making it clear that the story is happening right now. It's happening in real time. And that all the material is right in front of me. For a writer, for a performer, for a producer, for a director, to just take and run with. And that's the plan. So where are we at now? Again, that conversation I had with my girlfriend was extremely affirming. Affirming in the sense that with the limited resources that I have at my disposal, I still feel happy with the type of content that I can direct and produce. However, more strategy is required. At the way that the conversation went, the direction that it went, I don't feel comfortable posting that conversation in its entirety on the internet. Not because of how it makes me look, but mainly because of how exposing and vulnerable that conversation has both of us look, me and my partner. I'm fine with it, but I'm the mastermind. I'm the person who, I'm open to being judged and looked at, and I don't know, this is my passion project. And yes, my girlfriend did sign up for it in the same way that my friends did when I wrote The Narcissist. But it's one thing to consent to a concept. It's an entirely other thing to see the finished product and feel differently after seeing it. And it's already happened to me once, and I don't care for it to happen again. So now I just have to decide what to do with that full-length conversation, if there's anything to do with it. Yeah. The thing that I always struggle with is, every story has multiple characters. I can be the center of my story, the center of this character study, but you can't really show a character without having other people interacting with this character. There's always going to be some blowback, some sort of collateral damage. I just have to be strategic with this execution. So anyway, thanks for listening to my musings today. It's nice seeing you again. We're making progress. Less of an emphasis on momentum and more of an emphasis on continuity. Continuing on and on and on until we get leaner and leaner and we have cheat meals. It's analogous. My diet is analogous to the rest of my discipline and other aspects of my life, which works for me. I like metaphors. Okay, see you later. I'm gonna put these clothes away. Catch you on the flip side.